If a coworker likes you and you miss the signs, the opportunity may fade before you ever realize it was there. They might stop trying, assume you're not interested, or hide their attraction even deeper because the workplace already makes everything feel risky. The problem is, most of the real signs don't look dramatic. They look like timing, attention, helpfulness, and private moments that keep repeating. In this video, we're going through 20 signs someone at work likes you romantically, and the final sign is the one most people recognize only after looking back. 1. Their attention finds you before anything else. Have you ever walked into work and felt their eyes catch you before you've even settled in? At first, it seems normal. People look up when someone enters a room, especially in an office, a shop floor, a staff room, or a shared workspace. But attraction changes the timing. They don't just notice you, they notice you first. Watch the pattern. If they glance when you arrive, look away quickly, then look back once they think you're not paying attention. That's not random politeness. That's visual attention trying to stay hidden. In behavioral psychology, attention is one of the earliest markers of interest because the brain keeps returning to what feels rewarding, important, or emotionally charged. At work, this becomes especially revealing because they're surrounded by tasks, screens, meetings, managers, and other coworkers. If their attention still keeps landing on you, your presence is interrupting their professional focus. That doesn't prove love, but it does show you've become difficult for them to ignore. 2. They create work reasons to talk when no real reason exists. Ever had someone ask you a question they clearly could have answered without you? Maybe they message about a small detail, stop by your desk to clarify something simple, or stretch a 30-second work exchange into a 5-minute conversation. On the surface, it looks practical. They're just being collaborative. But here's the thing, when someone at work is attracted to you, work becomes the safest excuse for contact. They don't have to say, I wanted to talk to you. They can say, I had a question about that file. Or, did you see the update? The reason sounds professional, but the emotional motive is connection. The key is repetition. One unnecessary question means nothing. A pattern of unnecessary contact means they're using the workplace structure to stay near your energy. If they always seem to find a reason to involve you, even when other people could help, they're not only seeking information, they're seeking access. 3. Their body points towards you even when the conversation doesn't require it. Does their body turn towards you in meetings, group conversations, or shared workspaces before they even speak? Most people think attraction is in the eyes first, but the body often tells the truth before the mouth catches up. At work, where people monitor their words carefully, posture becomes louder. Look at their torso, feet, shoulders, and distance. If their chest angles towards you in a group, if their feet point towards you while they're speaking to someone else, or if they lean in when you talk, that's physical orientation. Researchers studying nonverbal behavior often treat body orientation and proximity as signs of interpersonal interest because people naturally face what they want to engage with. This matters at work because professional settings encourage restraint. They can't always flirt openly, so the body leaks the signal instead. If their words stay neutral, but their body keeps choosing you, something under the surface is paying attention. 4. Their voice changes when they talk to you. Have their voice sounds different with you than it does with everyone else? Maybe it gets softer. Maybe it drops slightly. Maybe it becomes warmer, slower, more playful, or suddenly more nervous. That shift matters because the voice is one of the hardest things to control when attraction is involved. In a workplace, people usually use a professional tone. They sound efficient, clear, and socially safe. But desire creates a different rhythm. Their voice may become lower because they're trying to sound calmer or more intimate. It may become brighter because they're excited. It may become teasing because flirtation needs a place to go without becoming too obvious. Compare, don't guess. Listen to how they speak to other coworkers, then listen to how they speak to you. If there's a noticeable difference, especially when the conversation isn't personal, your presence is changing their nervous system. That's where attraction often shows itself, not in what they say, but in how their body delivers it. Pause for a second. If this is already making you think of someone at work, comment spark. Let's see who's been noticing the tension but staying quiet. 5. They remember details they had no practical reason to remember. Ever mention something small and had them bring it up days later? Your coffee order, a meeting you were nervous about, a show you watched, a family thing, a place you said you wanted to visit. At work, people forget plenty because everyone's busy. So when someone remembers tiny personal details, it usually means those details landed somewhere deeper. Here's what most people don't realize. Romantic interest creates selective memory. The brain tags information connected to someone desirable as more important. Dopamine, attention, and emotional salience all work together, which is why a person with a crush can remember a throwaway comment from Tuesday, but forget half their actual workload. The important part is whether they use the memory to reconnect. If they say, "How did that thing go?" or "You still drinking that same coffee?" they're not just proving memory, they're reopening intimacy. They're showing you that your life outside the job has become part of their inner attention. 6. They treat you differently from everyone else. Does their energy shift when they move from another coworker to you? This is one of the clearest workplace signs because it gives you a comparison point. Anyone can be friendly, anyone can smile, anyone can make conversation, but attraction usually creates contrast. Watch how they behave with the room, then watch how they behave with you. Are they more animated, more careful, more helpful, more teasing? Do they make more eye contact with you, laugh harder with you, or become strangely quieter around you? That difference is the signal. This protects you from one of the biggest mistakes people make at work, confusing personality with attraction. Some people are naturally warm, charming, or touchy with everyone. That's not enough. What matters is special treatment. When their baseline changes around you, their nervous system is responding to you specifically. The sign isn't that they're nice. The sign is that they're different when you're the one standing in front of them. 7, they keep finding themselves near you. Ever notice they end up beside you more often than chance can explain? They choose the seat near you in meetings. They stand close during breaks. They pass by your desk when there's another route. They appear in the kitchen, hallway, elevator, or stockroom right after you do. At first, it feels coincidental. Think about that for a second. In attraction, proximity is a low risk form of pursuit. They don't have to confess anything, they just have to place themselves near you and let the moment create an opening. Evolutionary psychology often links proximity with familiarity and bonding because repeated closeness makes interaction feel safer and more emotionally normal. At work, this has to be read with boundaries. If their closeness feels invasive, uncomfortable, or persistent after you pull away, that's not romance. That's a problem. But if the closeness is respectful, mutual, and paired with nervous warmth, they're likely trying to be near you without making the first move too obvious. 8, they laugh at your jokes like they're relieved you made them. Have you ever said something only mildly funny and watched them light up as if you gave them exactly what they were waiting for? Laughter is social, but attraction makes it generous. When someone likes you at work, they often laugh faster, longer, or more warmly because your humor gives them permission to show pleasure around you. This is especially revealing in professional environments where people manage their reactions. They don't want to look too eager, but laughter slips through because it feels safe. A joke lets them enjoy you publicly without having to explain why they're enjoying you so much. Watch what happens after they laugh. Do they look at you for a second longer? Do they try to keep the joke going? Do they repeat it later as an inside reference? That's where ordinary laughter becomes flirtation. They're not only reacting to the joke, they're using the joke to keep a little emotional current alive between you. 9, their teasing feels personal, but not cruel. Does this coworker tease you in a way that feels different from normal banter? Maybe they give you a playful nickname, challenge you over small things, joke about your habits, or create tiny mock arguments that always seem to end with both of you smiling. Teasing is one of the safest forms of workplace flirtation because it hides desire inside humor. That's not mockery, that's testing chemistry. The person gets to see how you respond to playful tension. Do you laugh? Do you tease back? Do you hold eye contact? Do you seem comfortable with that private rhythm? The line matters. Romantic teasing makes you feel noticed, not diminished. It has warmth underneath it. If it embarrasses you, targets something painful, or continues after you show discomfort, it isn't attraction worth encouraging. But if it creates a private spark inside an otherwise ordinary workday, they're building a connection that feels slightly separate from everyone else. 10, they react when someone else gets your attention. Ever watch their mood change when another coworker talks to you, flirts with you, or gets your attention for too long? They may not act openly jealous. At work, jealousy often has to stay subtle. It shows up as quiet observation, a sudden interruption, a joke that sounds a little too pointed, or a change in warmth after they see you connecting with someone else. Jealousy is not proof of love and it's not always healthy, but small contained jealousy can reveal emotional investment. The amygdala responds to perceived social threat. And when someone is attracted to you, another person's access to you can feel like competition, even if nothing has happened. Notice whether they try to regain your attention. Do they enter the conversation, message you afterward, ask who that person was? If they do it lightly and respectfully, they're showing that your attention has value to them. They don't just enjoy you, they notice when they're not the one receiving you. Let me know if this is hitting home. Drop the word seen below if you've ever felt someone at work react when your attention went somewhere else. 11. They protect your image in front of others. Have you noticed them backing you up in meetings, defending your idea, or smoothing over awkward moments before anyone else can judge you? In a workplace, attraction isn't always playful. Sometimes it becomes protection. They care how you're seen, so they step in when your reputation, comfort, or confidence feels exposed. This can look subtle. They give credit to your idea. They support your point when the room goes quiet. They help explain what you meant. They make a difficult moment feel less lonely. Social psychology calls this impression management, but when it's directed towards someone they like, it becomes emotionally selective. Again, compare. Do they do this for everyone or do they seem especially alert when it's you? If they consistently protect your standing, they're investing in more than teamwork. They're trying to be a safe person in your work world. And attraction often grows through that exact feeling. This person sees me and they're on my side. 12. They make themselves useful in ways that go beyond the job. Does this coworker offer help before you ask for it? Maybe they fix a problem, send you something useful, stay late to support you, carry something, cover a small task, or explain a process with more patience than the situation requires. Helpful coworkers exist, but attraction adds extra willingness. Here's something that might surprise you. People often express desire through usefulness when direct flirting feels risky. At work, saying, I'm attracted to you can feel too exposed. Saying, I can help you with that feels safe, generous, and professional. The test is selectivity. If they're helpful to everyone in the same way, it's probably character. If they're especially available to you, especially responsive to your stress, and especially willing to remove friction from your day, then help has become a form of closeness. They're trying to earn a place in your emotional field without asking for one directly. 13. Their messages feel warmer than the work requires. Have you ever received a work message from them that somehow feels more personal than necessary? Maybe they add jokes, emojis, extra questions, quick replies, or a casual line that has nothing to do with the task. Maybe the message starts with work but ends with something that sounds like they just wanted to keep talking. At work, messaging is one of the easiest places for attraction to grow because it creates privacy without obvious risk. The screen gives them courage. They can be warmer, funnier, more curious, or more emotionally open than they are in front of other coworkers. Pay attention to timing. If they message outside normal work hours, respond quickly when they don't need to, or continue the conversation after the work issue is solved, the function has changed. It's no longer just communication, it's contact. And when contact becomes the reward, the work topic is only the doorway. 14. They ask about your relationship status without asking directly. Ever had them ask questions that circle your dating life without naming it too clearly? They ask what you did over the weekend. They ask who you went with. They notice if you say we and try to work out who we means. They ask whether you live alone, whether you're seeing anyone, or make a joke that gives you room to reveal your status. This is a classic workplace attraction move because direct questions can feel too bold. They don't want to risk making things awkward, so they gather information indirectly. They're trying to understand whether there's space for them before they show too much interest. The practical part is simple. If you're interested, answer clearly enough to give them a safe opening. If you're not interested, keep your answer polite but closed. Ambiguity can feed workplace tension for months. Clarity, delivered gently, protects both people from living inside a fantasy that has nowhere healthy to go. 15. Their compliments move from professional to personal. Does their praise start sounding less like coworker feedback and more like attraction? At first, they compliment your work, your presentation, your ideas, or how you handled a problem. Then the compliments shift. They notice your smile, your style, your energy, your confidence, your voice, or how good you look on a certain day. That's not just approval, that's attention becoming personal. Compliments reveal what someone allows themselves to notice. In a professional setting, people usually keep praise jobs safe. So when the compliments begin touching appearance, presence, or emotional effect, they're stepping closer to desire. The safest way to read this is through escalation. One compliment may be politeness. Repeated personal compliments, especially paired with eye contact, nervousness, or a softer tone, show attraction trying to stay acceptable. If you like them, receive it warmly, but don't rush. Let the pattern prove itself before you turn a charged compliment into a risky workplace confession. 16. They become nervous after a charged moment. Have you ever had a moment with them that felt intense and then they suddenly became awkward afterward? Maybe the eye contact lasted too long, maybe your hands brushed, maybe a joke landed with more tension than expected. Then, almost instantly, they pulled back, over explained, got formal, or acted like nothing happened. That's not nothing. That's regulation. When attraction breaks through at work, people often retreat because the professional brain catches up with the emotional body. Cortisol and adrenaline can rise when someone feels exposed, especially if they're worried the chemistry was obvious. This is one of the most confusing signs because it can feel like rejection, but look at the cycle. If they pull back after intensity, then return later with warmth, they're not uninterested. They're managing the risk. They want the connection, but they're trying not to lose control of it in a place where everyone can see. 17. They notice your mood before other people do. Does this person pick up on your mood even when you're trying to hide it? They ask if you're okay. They lower their voice when you seem stressed. They check in after a hard meeting. They remember when something was weighing on you. In a busy workplace, that level of emotional tracking stands out. Attraction sharpens perception. When someone likes you, they monitor your face, tone, posture, and energy more closely because your emotional state affects them. They don't just see that you're present, they sense when you're different. This becomes meaningful when it's paired with care. They don't only notice, they respond. They make space, offer help, lighten the mood, or protect your privacy. That kind of attention can feel intimate because it says, without saying it directly, your inner world matters to me. At work, where most people only notice performance, someone noticing your emotional state can feel like being privately chosen. 18. They build an inside world with you. Have you developed little jokes, looks, phrases, or routines with them that other coworkers don't fully understand? Maybe one glance across a meeting says everything. Maybe a shared complaint becomes a running joke. Maybe you both remember tiny moments that would mean nothing to anyone else. This is one of the strongest signs of emotional intimacy at work. That's not just friendliness, that's a private channel. Human bonding often grows through shared symbols, repeated references, and small rituals. They create a feeling of us inside a larger group. In a workplace, that's powerful because the environment is public, structured, and watched. If they keep feeding that inside world, they're keeping the connection alive. They want something that belongs only to the two of you, even if it's small. And if the energy underneath it feels warm, charged, and slightly secret, the inside joke probably isn't only a joke. It's a place where the attraction can breathe. 19. They create almost dates without calling them dates. Ever had a coworker suggest coffee, lunch, a walk, drinks after work, or leaving together in a way that feels casual but strangely loaded? They don't call it a date. They call it grabbing something, taking a break, walking the same way, or decompressing after a long day. That wording protects them from rejection. This is where workplace attraction starts moving from signs into opportunity. They're testing whether the connection can survive outside the strict frame of tasks, meetings, and shared schedules. The setting matters. A coffee run during a group break is light. A repeated one on one coffee that keeps getting longer is different. Drinks after work, especially when they seem more interested in talking to you than the event itself, carry even more weight. If you're interested, don't force a confession at work. Match the energy gently. Say yes to a low pressure moment and watch whether they become more personal outside the office rhythm. If you're not interested, keep it group based or work focused. The kindest boundary is the one that doesn't create false hope. 20. They look for private moments where the professional mask drops. What does it mean when they keep finding quiet moments alone with you? This is the sign from the beginning, the one that looks innocent at work but usually means more when it repeats. They linger after meetings. They walk with you after everyone leaves. Their tone softens when no one else is listening. The conversation becomes less about tasks and more about you. That private emotional space is where their real interest can finally show. At work, attraction often needs a place where the professional mask can drop just enough for the truth to come through. Now you know how romantic interest shows up before someone says it directly. But when that interest turns physical, the giveaway changes. It moves into the words they choose, the jokes they make, and the comments that sound casual until you understand the pattern. Click the video on screen now because the first phrase is one people usually overlook until they hear it again and realize what was really being said.